All right, shalom, shalom first and foremost. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash, giving double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. Just coming back with another lesson. Ran across two Instagram clips of the ISUBK, going off. One was them, on the street preaching and coming in contact with armed, policemen or armed security. On the back of the shirts it say special police, something like that. Special police or something like that. So, they going back and forth with the guy, pretty much antagonizing the guy. And then, saying that, they're willing to die, behind teaching, which we know this, but the scripture tells you how to deal in these situations, man. You don't keep pushing it until it explodes over, because somebody could have got hurt, man. This Jake was, in his feelings, kind of emotional. And then you had the guy from ISUPK teaching, just pressing on with it, man. We even encountered security, policemen. And, we just went along with what they said, man. We complied. If we were in the right, we talked it out and settled it out. But, most of the times, man, if you the scripture's going to say it. Matter of fact, let's just watch this video and then we're going to get into the scriptures, man, because it's, it's kind of, you get kind of vexed in the spirit watching it, because, it could be handled a different way, and the second clip, oh my God, is Captain Tazariot going off about Giannis, the basketball players, Giannis. Yeah, so we'll get that too. And matter of fact, let's get this video.
Conduct yourself like a professional. Conduct yourself like a professional. You are at work right now, and we are at work. You at work, and we at work. Conduct yourself like a professional. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to nobody back here. That's the first thing. You understand? Right. You understand? Nobody gonna do anything to us. You playing rent-a-cop. You understand? Nobody gonna do anything to anybody back here. We are not.
But clearly this guy's more than a rent-a-cop, because he got a gun. Rent-a-cops don't have guns and bulletproof vests. He's a little bit more than a rent-a-cop. Rent-a-cops have flashlights, phones, and that's it. But this guy has an actual weapon on his side, man.
Christians. We are not Christians. If you want to do something, do it now. Do it now. If you wanted to do something, do it. Don't talk.
Then you telling the guy, you antagonizing the guy. You telling him to go ahead and do something. If you're going to do something, do it now. This guy has a gun. He has a weapon on his side, man.
About it, be about it. If you gonna do it, do it. Do it now. Do it right now. We ain't scared. We ain't Christians. Every last one of these brothers will lay down their life for what we believe. And guess what? We're gonna be right back out here doing the same thing. You ain't stopping the goddamn thing. And we've seen many like you before. We're gonna be right here teaching and raising up black people, because we love black people. We love black people. And we ain't scared of a goddamn soul back.
And anytime they speak of this black people, that's going off, man, because no one is black. You can see that Jake in the purple dashiki, he's very dark, but he's not black. He's just a dark brown. So, they're going off, man, all kind of ways.
Yeah, we not the Christian church, and you not going to threaten nobody back here and think we Christians. It ain't going down the way you think it's going to go down. We not Christians. We not Christians. We are not Christians.
But this guy has a pistol on his side. And he has another guy with him with a pistol on his side. What are you going to do? Yeah, you saying we're not Christians. We're not Christians. It's not going to go down the way you think. But these men are armed, man. Unless you armed too. Like, come on, man. So, that's really enough of that. That's enough of that. That's vexing enough. So let's go to the scriptures, man. See what the scriptures got to say. Let's go to the book of St. Matthew, chapter 5, And clearly, man, clearly, book of St. Matthew, chapter 5. I'm in chapter 2. So like you. We're going to drop down to verse 25. And this is our Lord speaking, man. This is our Lord Yahushua speaking. Book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him. So you want to agree when you're in these situations like this, whatever the situation may have been, I don't know if the Jake wanted him to move off the corner or something was said, that he took offense to. But, you don't keep on going with it, man. You don't keep on going with it, especially when this man has a pistol on his side, Pistol on his side, and he got at least, 10, 12 shots. Along with a coworker, man. So when you're in these situations, man, it's just like being in the streets, man. You don't antagonize people with weapons, or that's in a position of authority. Those guys was security, some kind of type of security, but they had to been like a high level security to be able to walk the streets with weapons like that, man. So it says, let's say any time the adversary delivered thee to the judge, they could have went to jail behind that, man. It says, and the judge delivered thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. So, the police could have came, it could have escalated, and people could have been harmed, people could have been hurt, shot, or whatever the case may be, But in those situations, you do not want to escalate things, man. You don't want to keep going back and forth with people, especially with weapons, man. You don't know where this man's mind could have been. You don't know what his situation was that day. But when you saw him with the weapon, man, look, you got it, brother. Everything will be all right, man. We'll talk later, going down the street or whatever. You don't just keep going back and forth saying we're not Christian. It ain't going to end the way you think it's going to end. How you know how it's going to end? This man got a weapon. What you got? Of course, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is looking over brothers. But, who's to say, hey, man, you don't know if you're that much of a righteous man that Yahweh Shem Yahushua will have a hedge of protection around you, man. You don't do that, man. That's why you got to come humble, especially in situations with people with weapons, man. So let's go to the book of St. Luke, and we'll go to chapter 12. Pretty much along the same lines of, what we just read. Let's see. Verse 58. It says, when thou goest with thine adversary to the magistrate, as thou art in the way, give diligence that thou mayest be delivered from him. You want to try to, talk your way out of the situation, man. You don't want to keep pushing the issue. He called a Jake emotional, but and still you emotional too, man. Both of y'all was emotional, man. It's a difference from being, on fire for the truth. You know, that was pure emotion what you went through. You didn't bring no scriptures out. That was all emotions on both sides, man. Both of y'all was going out. But this man has more authority than you, in this world. Clearly he does. He got a pistol, walking the streets, bulletproof vest. So it says, lest he hail thee to the judge, and the judge delivered thee to the officer, and the officer cast thee into prison, man. So you want to talk your way out of these things, man. You don't go to the courtroom acting like that, man. So you should, try to, calm things down before we get that far, man. So verse 59, it says, I tell thee, thou shalt not depart thence till thou hast paid the very last mite. So you're not going to get out of the situation, man. It's a no-win situation for you, especially if the police come and they not on your side. Or this Jake could have pulled that pistol out and got the blasting, man. So you got to be wise, man. Scriptures say be wise as serpents, harmless as doves, man. You don't want to just keep pushing the issue, antagonizing people. But that goes along the lines with having 100% truth, man, and they don't have it. And we're going to see another clear example. And this is one of the top guys in ISUPK, supposedly one of the top teachers in ISUPK, going straight off, man, about Giannis. Let's see. Matter of fact, let's just go and get it, man.
Not one of you.
No, because he's a Hamite.
Who's
Antetokounmpo? Yeah, he's not one of us.
He's not one of you.
No, because he's a Hamite.
Who's considered black to you?
Those of us over here. Black is not
Shaquille O'Neal considered black?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like?
No. Yeah, I like. He's not African. Shaquille O'Neal, one of us. But we don't like Africans, and Africans don't like us. Africans sold us. How can I like the people that sold us?
They did.
Yeah. A white man never came in the tribes and catch nobody.
No.
The Africans. Well, it wasn't black. It was Africans that caught us.
So the ones that have been enslaved and sent here, they are the blacks.
Right.
And then the ones in Africa are the Africans.
You are one of the smartest Moroccans I've met, because you can understand, because most people look at it like Africans gathered up Africans, but it's tribal wars. So we was a different tribe than them. So when the Europeans looked for slaves, they caught us. Antetokounmpo.
So based off his logic, which is totally crazy. So based off his logic, during the transatlantic slave trade, that would mean every single Israelite that was in Africa was gathered up and brought to America. That's how stupid it sounds. You still had Israelites left behind, in the land of Africa, the land of Ham. You had Israelites scattered throughout Africa, all up and down the west coast of Africa. Every single Israelite did not get captured and brought to America, South America, North America. What about the Native Americans that got caught in North America and were taken to, the Arab lands? What about those? I mean, are they Israelites still? So this guy's going on, man. Let's listen to this.
Antetokounmpo? Yeah, he's not one of us.
He's not one of you.
No, because he's a Hamite.
Who's considered black to you?
Those of us over here. Black is not
Shaquille O'Neal considered black?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like?
No. Yeah, I like. He's not African. Shaquille O'Neal, one of us. But we don't like Africans, and Africans don't like us. Africans sold us. How can I like the people that sold us?
They did.
Yeah. A white man never came in the tribes and catch nobody.
No.
The Africans. Well, it wasn't black. It was Africans that caught us.
So the ones that have been enslaved.
And he going off right there, man. All Jakes was not gathered up by Africans. Even the movies, Roots, Mandingo, Drum. These movies show you that these Edomites were actually hunting Jake down. Maybe they had the help of some other. And matter of fact, you had Israelites that would turn other Israelites into these Edomites, man. capturing Israelites. Man, it's really kind of frustrating to watch. Matter of fact, we ain't even gonna watch no more of that, because it's kind of vexing to watch. And then based off that logic, matter of fact, let's go into who Giannis is. Get a little background on Giannis. Giannis Sina Oguko Antetokounmpo. Matter of fact, I want to know exactly how to pronounce that, man. Antetokounmpo. Let's see. Salaki. I should know how to pronounce the Jake name. But, yeah. Let's see. I don't want no ads and all. Matter of fact, let's see how he is.
The Nigerian way, you gotta say with a D, so it's Antetokounmpo. But in the Greek way, you say with the NT, like Antetokounmpo. So I changed it myself. Like, I don't think there is a way you gotta say the last name. Whatever you got, just say. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The Nigerian way, you gotta say with a D, so it's Adet.
Jake is from Nigeria. His family is from Nigeria, but they moved to Greece.
Kumpo. But in the Greek way, you say with the NT, like Antetokounmpo. So I changed it myself. Like, I don't think there is a way you gotta say the last name. Whatever you
of his name. So let's get a little background on Jake, man. It says is Greek Nigerian. Is a Greek Nigerian professional basketball player. He just got traded to the Heat. But his nickname is the Greek Freak. The Greek Freak. So based off what Captain Cesario just said, you got to get rid of the whole book of Maccabees, man. Man, it's just frustrating, man. It's just frustrating to be putting out false information like that. And look at it. Clearly, he's a Jake, man. His parents are from Nigeria. We'll get into that too. But look at this man's accomplishments in basketball. What Hamite has accomplished anything like that, man? So that's saying that Akeem Olajuwon is a Hamite too. Come on, man. Born and raised in Athens, Greece, to Nigerian parents, Antetokounmpo began playing basketball for youth teams of, whatever, in Athens, Greece. So let's go to, a little bit of early life. It says, as the son of immigrants from Nigeria, Giannis was born in Athens, Greece on December 6, 1994. His father was a soccer player and his mother was a high jumper in Nigeria. 3 years earlier, they had moved to Lagos, and clearly it's Jake's all throughout Lagos, man. Leaving their firstborn son, in the care of their grandparents. But that's pretty much what we talking about, man. So it says, although Giannis and three of his brothers were born in Greece, they did not automatically receive Greek citizenship as Greek nationality law, as just Giannis, you go down. Growing up, he sometimes felt like an outsider to both Greek and Nigerian communities in Athens due to his parents' heritage and different skin color in the former, and due to his lack of understanding of the Yoruba and Igbo languages in the latter. And clearly, Igbo are Israelites, man. Captain Cesario, man. Sometimes you think that he's paid off, He's got to be paid off by the information that he brings out. He's spreading a whole lot of false information, man, and I'm sure Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not pleased with that, man. So, You know, don't be surprised, man, if you know, Yahweh Shai bring hell upon this man. So clearly, you based off his logic, you got to get rid of the whole book of Maccabees. First Maccabees, second Maccabees, third Maccabees. You got to get rid of all the Maccabees, man. That is solely based on the Greek captivity, man. So let's go to the book of Acts chapter 6 and verse 1. Oh, we already do. So lock you. So it says, in those days, when the number of the disciples were multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews because their widows were neglected in the day of ministration, in the daily ministration. So let's go to get this word, Grecians. Man, it's like, wow,
Strong's G 1675. Hellenistes. Hellenistes.
Hellenistes. So, Hellenistes. A Hellenist or Greek-speaking Jew. So you had Jews in Greece back then. What would be different now, man? A Hellenist, one who imitates the manners and customs or the worship of Greeks. So he grew up doing the same thing, man. He grew up worshiping the custom of Greeks. He said he was torn between his Greek heritage and his Nigerian heritage. It says, and used the Greek tongue, and I'm sure he speak Greek, man. It says, used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands speaking Greek. That would be Giannis. Clearly would be Giannis, man. So, Captain Zariak, man, you got to do better, man. He's supposed to be a learned man. He's supposed to be a learned man, man. If you're going to bring out this truth, we're going to bring out this knowledge, it's got to be factual, man. It's got to be factual. You cannot be out here deceiving the people. So let's go to... let's see. Let's see. Let's go to the book of First Maccabees. Let's see. First Maccabees. Let's go First Maccabees 1. We just gonna drop down to 10 and get context of what was going on back then. So it says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage in Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. It says, in those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. It says, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. So you had Jews in Greece, willing to worship the Greeks and the king. It says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. So you don't think according to him, all the Israelites that were in Greece, matter of fact, man, it's just mind blowing. It's mind blowing that somebody would say something like that, as it pertains to historical facts as well as present day knowledge, man. Man, matter of fact, we can go to the book of Deuteronomy. Let's get it, man. We just go on and get it. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64. You know, it says, and the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Scattered among all people. Scattered among all people, man. It's madness. So let's go to the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, and we're just going to drop down to verse 8. It says, moreover, there went out a decree in the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. So you had to assimilate yourself and be a part of the heathen customs. It says, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, so they were breastfeeding, or breastfeeding or carrying the babies, and you know how you carry a baby. It says they cast them out headlong from the wall, so, and others that had run together into caves, nearby, to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered by Philip, were all burnt together, because they had made a conscious because they had, why am I saying had? Because they made a conscious, hold on, tripping, to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. I'm really tripping. Really tripping.
Conscience.
I know I'm tripping. Conscience is, I'm tripping, man. So lucky for that. You read it and it don't fit, but that's what it's supposed to be, because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. So they got put to death for observing the Sabbath, man. So basically we're just basically going into, man, you still to this present day have Israelites in Greece as well as Africa, man. All over the 4 corners of the earth, which we're about to get right now, man. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 11. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Cathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the 4 corners of the earth. So what is Captain Cesario talking about, man? It's just frustrating, but, Lord willing, it was edifying. We want to constantly give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.